Oh my god.
Hey everybody, I'm Alex. I'm your moderator for this evening. Jesse Eisenberg, Kip Fagan, playwright, actor, and director. We'll open it up to questions in a second, but before we do, I just wanted to ask a couple questions. Jesse, I guess to begin at the beginning, where did the sort of seed of this play come from?
I was interested in, two guys who are really feel like they have a good handle on the world. Vinny, he kind of feels like he understands it physically and spiritually, and Edgar understands it in terms of, kind of like socioeconomic statistics, very intellectually, but they both have not experienced much of the world. And so I thought it would be interesting to take two guys like that, two guys that I feel like I know, two guys that I feel I am, and insert literally into their lap somebody from the outside world and see how they react and see what they kind of imbue her with incorrectly.
Yeah, it's like sort of a strain in a lot of your work that both as an actor and as a writer. This idea of people who kind of confront the world from one specific direction. I think a lot of your work as an actor sees you playing characters who think more with their head than they do with their heart. Yeah, I like characters like that because I feel like it helps me work out something in myself, possibly that I might feel conflicted about. Kind of knowing a lot, having access to a lot just by virtue of being in college or having Wikipedia on your telephone, but just not experiencing a lot because maybe I don't pursue as much as I should. Right. How do you feel like there's been a lot made in the last couple of weeks about you and Zoe Kazan both having shows, both sort of who've made your names as actors, having shows on as writers in New York at the same time. How do you feel like that work that you've done as an actor, sort of playing these roles, has informed the work that you've done as a writer? A lot, because when you act in a play, much more so than a movie, you're kind of forced to obsess over every line. Not only do you have to memorize it, but you have to repeat it night after night after night. So it gets in your bones in a way that possibly no other experience might. And so when I sit down to write something, or when I'm thinking of ideas to write about, I instinctively use the kind of and I'm inspired by the things I've worked on that are kind of still embedded in me. Yeah. Which I guess kind of leads naturally to the question of what's it been like to be acting in your playwriting premiere in New York? I gather that the show's gone through a lot of development in your time working on it here. Yeah. It's been good. It's been interesting, to do it in front of different audiences and see how they react. Some, react, as though the show's much funnier than other shows. That sometimes it plays more dramatically, and it's interesting for me, who had a kind of kind of a specific idea for how it would play, to kind of now take it in front of so many other people. Sure. Had you always envisioned that you would be in it as you've been working on it? Yeah, I think probably because it's something, as I mentioned, that I wanted to kind of work out for myself, and part of that helpful experience is by doing it every night, and not that I'm so eager to kind of work out my only staying in Cambodia for a few days on stage, but it kind of helps sort out feelings that I'm thinking about. Sure. Has your perspective on Edgar or on the play in general shifted? Would you say through this process of sort of having to inhabit it every night? Well, I try not to judge the character in any kind of harsh way, because when you're writing something, maybe it's okay to judge the characters at some point because you're creating themes and you're creating kind of an overall picture. But when you're acting in it, you have to be so focused on not only kind of the minutiae of all of his actions, but on the very kind of specific emotional motivations that drive this guy, and so I really try to kind of reserve judgment. I did that, several years ago when I was writing it a little bit, and now I threw it out the window. And defer really to Kip on all things broad.
So Kip, how is it, I mean, you've obviously seen a lot of plays in your career through, from first draft to completion, or, first draft to opening night. How is it a different experience working with a play where the playwright is also on stage?
It's interesting. I've done one or two, like in my time, where an actor and the writer were the same person. It was interesting working with Jesse on it, particularly before rehearsals started, like talking dramaturgically about the play and talking about changes that we might make to the play. And the play did change, not fundamentally, but substantially during the rehearsal process. But it was interesting in conversations with Jesse, because he would say, well, the I would change constantly. Do you know what I mean? Like the I as Jesse and the I as Edgar were fluid. You know what I mean? And it was interesting. I felt like I had to keep, going back and forth, deciphering what that, and it makes the play so great, I think, and it gives the play such a voice. And actually, sitting with Jesse as he was rewriting and listening to him inhabit all the roles, you know what I mean? Not just his role, but all the roles. Like, it's coming from an actor's point of view. Jesse's a really smart guy, so he can see it from all the different characters' points of view, but also as an actor, which put him inside of the play in a way that I think is really unique and good.
Interesting.
Same as my wife, actually, who is an actor and a playwright, who does kind of the same thing. I hear her in the other room, sort of like playing all the parts in her plays as she's typing away on her laptop.
I mean, off of what you said, Jesse, about kind of your personal experience in this play, and obviously this is a play that's a lot about people playing their personal experiences off each other. I mean, I'm interested to hear about what kind of your relationship to Asuncion is as the play is developed. I mean, you've clearly got a much closer experience personally to these three other guys, and what it's been like kind of working that character and seeing that character develop through this process.
Oh, in terms of writing it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I started writing it based on this woman I knew who was from the Philippines and was so interested in American culture, and I kept kind of just wondering why aloud to her, because I was in a place of feeling so apologetic for America. And she just embraced it wholeheartedly and read, these, it's not here, but these, just read these, Us Weekly magazines and just loved it. And I realized through our relationship that she was not, wrong or less than, and that really, if anything, I was being the naive one, whereas I kind of attributed, ignorance to her for appreciating stuff that I found so base. But I realized actually that I was really the one, just by virtue of kind of judging the thing that shouldn't be judged, that really warranted some kind of condemnation. And so I thought, well, that would be kind of an interesting character, somebody who really embraces American culture. In this apartment where they so reject American culture, every book there is just about, rejecting, and sometimes it comes from a good place of feeling like you want to help or you want America to do better or something, and then but a lot of it comes from a place of feeling just kind of personally insecure, and that does not help.